So this right here is kind of a short rant. It might not be a rant, right? My version of a rant. I've been reading so many comments where people are talking about, on the video I talked about rest and how people around them and environments around them react to it, right? And I try to answer the comments and give little tiny bits of advice, not anything real, because most of the advice is already in the video, right? And one of my biggest themes I keep on noticing that I'm writing is that tell people that you're busy and you're busy with rest. I think we don't understand that that is the end of the conversation. I spent a lot of time in my life making up fake excuses for things that I didn't want to do and places I didn't want to go. And especially if you have children, you use them for that kind of stuff. I know I have, right? Instead of saying at a workplace, I really need a day to relax and get my mind off of the workplace, you'll say, oh, my daughter's not feeling good today. I'm not going to be in. Because we already know how the world reacts to someone taking the liberty of saying, right now, I want to get in front of my well-being and do something that's good for me, because they're not willing to do it for themselves. And because of that, and because the expectation is always grind yourself until there's no more left, people do not understand, or nor do they honor the idea that you are actually putting your rest and rehabilitation at the forefront of your life as a regular part of your routine. I dealt with this all the time with, I'll say growing up, but like being in my 20s and stuff like that, and like dealing with family in different environments. Most of the time, I really just wanted to rest. I had really bad anxiety, and it used to get the best of me. And if you ever had anxiety or panic attacks and stuff, and you had issues with keeping your food down and all that kind of stuff, when you wake up the next morning, it's like your body is completely and utterly drained because it used up so much energy with that panic attack. Like it really extracts a lot from you in that process. And what I wanted to do was rest, but I was often surrounded by people, places, and things that did not understand that that was important too. I remember being married early on, and I thought about this the other day, and I was just like, I forgot all about that. But sometimes when I have these videos, it's like it makes me think about the stuff that I forgot. And I remember when I used to be at home with my daughter, the oldest one, when she was really young, and I was still doing breastfeeding. I was still taking those daytime naps with her, although she wasn't much of a napper. She was a quiet little girl. She didn't cause a ruckus. She used to play by herself for a long time. She would have been a great only child, but she was very self-contained in that way. But nonetheless, it was the washing of the clothes. It was, cleaning the house and picking up the toys. It was all the stuff that comes with being a mother of a child that little. And sometimes in the afternoon, I remember her dad would come home. I say ex-husband, that's too much of a claim. Her dad would come home and he would be like, I bet you've been sitting on that couch all day or something like that. And I was just thinking to myself, now in hindsight, what's wrong with relaxing if you've been taking care of a little baby all day? What's wrong with relaxing if you've been allowing them to completely get their meals from your body? Pumping milk and all that kind of stuff. Like, what's wrong with relaxing? And I remember because of those types of comments and complaints, I started, when I would hear the car pull up or the garage open, I started doing busy things when he would come home in the evening so I can look like I've been earning my keep. And I'm not saying that was the case, but I mean, that's essentially what you're doing, is saying that I have to deserve to sit down and relax for a moment, because I could be in between tasks. It's like nobody ever knows. And like, it became like real taboo for me for him to walk up on me and see that I was actually just relaxing in the moment that he happened to be coming home. And that was something that I remember, and I know a lot of women are doing it because I've had conversations about this kind of stuff before. A lot of people are doing this, right? And that's something that we got to get out of our heads. Resting is being busy. Taking time to yourself is being busy. Not going out to the party and not going out to the event, it is being busy. Taking that day off of work because of your well-being, that place is not going anywhere. Work is always there. There's always going to be time to go do work. Always, always, always. There's going to be somebody hiring, some work needs to be done. And to think like you can't take a break from it is like insane. It's like, yes, I'm busy. I even have to do that with my daughters now, because when you have children, you especially have to keep establishing firm boundaries, right? I'll say I'm going to do this, but they're trained in my ways at this point now. I'll come in, and sometimes I'm just like, I'm not ready to sit there and listen to all this. This is what this person did today, because I do it every single day. But some days I'm like, not today, and I'm like, you know what? I need a moment for myself. I'm gonna go in the room for a second and whatever. And they'll be like, oh, you're going upstairs, and I'm like, oh, I love to be loved, but yes, I'm going upstairs and I'm going to shut that door and I'm going to go get in a quiet space for a moment. And they know that that is busy. They don't come knocking on my door, bothering me every 2 seconds saying, you've done yet, or you blah, blah, blah. Even when they were little, they didn't do that, because I made them understand the importance of when it's time for you to take time to yourself, when it's time for you to rest, when it's time for you to recuperate, when it's time for you to rehabilitate yourself in whatever ways that is, or conserve your energy. It's okay. You get to decide that, right? So when somebody asks you that again, and another lady, somebody was in the comments and they said something about when you start resting and people see the peace that you have. She was like, people always trying to move into my space whenever that happens. And I'm like, I've had that happen too. It's like they see the peace you've created and they see the rest that you are partaking in. And they're like, wow, what is happening over there? You don't even have to have a lot of money. You don't have to have a lot of furniture or food or anything like that. But when people come into that space, they immediately feel the abundance of peace, the abundance of rest, the abundance of relaxation, the abundance of flow. And they're just like, oh, I'm having this thing going on. Can I move in with you? And I'm like, I've had that happen before too. And it's like, nah, this right here belongs to me. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I mean, that's what your people will be attracted to it in a certain way, and you'll have to learn how to manage it without depleting yourself. Because it's very attractive to see people in a beautiful mindset and rested in all that, I call it luxurious energy, ready to do something with it and be something for the world. And then another thing too was when I was married, he would always ask me to do a bunch of tasks. I would be like, okay, I don't have work tomorrow. When I started going back to work, I don't have work tomorrow. And it'd be like a Wednesday or whatever. And I remember this thing, and this is a short little story that I tell. I got an alignment done on one of the vehicles that we had, on my vehicle. And I got an alignment done on it because it needed an alignment. But the shop I took it to did a really good job, right? They did like one of those manual alignments, not with the machine. So this was a little time ago. The machines were there, but this guy was still doing it manually, and he did a great job. And so my ex-husband was driving the car, and he noticed that it was a good job. And so he was just like, oh, you think you could take mine to the shop? Like, what shop? Where'd you go? And I was like, sure. And my daughter had to be about 9 months by then or whatever. And I was really with her all the time. Like, she was stuck to me, whatever. And I remember that Wednesday was coming up, or someday during the week, and I was like, I don't have work, or either I took off work. I don't know what I did, but I didn't have to go. And he was like, oh, you're going to get that car aligned? And I was like thinking to myself, what makes you think? And at the time, I did not have this thought process. This is my current mindset. I'm like, what makes you think I want to sit in a auto shop? And the lobbies are never that nice. We already know this. They smell like motor oil and stuff, with a 9-month-old for 3 hours or so, because that's how long it's going to take. 2 hours, 3, whatever. It's going to be a wait or whatever. Out of the day that I've taken off to rest myself, to rest my mind, my body, and my soul, to rest myself, to sit there and do a task for you. And so when you start seeing that is how that works, people go, oh, wait, you're not busy? You can do, and it's like, yes, I'm busy. I'm busy resting. And they need to learn how to respect it. If they can't respect it, then that's their business. But yes, busy resting. And I even put out a new products on my page, and I did a design myself because I thought it was so cute. And I was like, yes, because that's been sticking in my head. I'm busy resting, because people really don't see that as a thing that is a necessity in life. They really don't see it as an essential aspect of our existence. They think, oh, you got a moment. You're not doing anything. Can you? Believe me, I have kids. They do that all the time. The minute I let my foot up off, I let my foot up off the gas or the brakes or whatever one it is. The minute I do it for a second, they're like, you seem, especially when the oldest one didn't have a car, and it was always take me and my friends here and there and everywhere. And I was like, no, And he's like, well, what are we going to do? I don't know. Y'all are going to have to figure it out, but I'm not taking you anywhere because right now I'm resting. And so you have to remind people how important that is to you. And they would be like, well, you're not even busy. I am busy. I'm busy resting. And that's what you need to tell people. I'm busy resting. And that's the end of the conversation. You can spend all your time making up all those fake excuses if you want to, if you got to ease your way into taking control of your own narrative or being more autonomous in the way that you operate in the world. If you got to do those little excuses, then fine. But at the end of the day, there's nothing more liberating than telling somebody who's asking of you something or trying to get you to do something with your time, and you tell them, no, I'm going to rest tomorrow. And I've had people say that, yeah, it's lazy, it's what it is, lazy and lacking thought for other people. You have this time and energy and you can't do it. And it's like, no, I can't. No, I can't. I don't know what to tell you. How are you going to get it done if I wasn't here? You know? And that's not to say you're cutting off everybody and not giving them none of your time and energy. But when you set that time apart and you say, this is what I'm doing for myself today, don't let people bombard you with that day. It's like nothing worse than somebody having an off day who works a job or either being an entrepreneur, whatever it is, you're doing something, you're working, you're doing something to bring some kind of income in, stay at home mom, whatever, you're doing something. And I know what that's like. You're doing some work there. You're doing that and you're like, okay, I'm gonna give myself a little break in between times, and people totally disregard it because they see you sitting there doing nothing to the naked eye. But truly, you are recouping yourself. You are relaxing. You are re-energizing yourself. You are pouring into your cup so that you can be something and show up for yourself and other people in a way that doesn't deplete you. And that's way more important than somebody being annoyed because you can't do a task for them, right? There's more of you to give. Anyway, I think that's all I got on that subject. I'm busy resting. That's the end of the conversation. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.